bombshell announcement from Toyota as they put the brakes on the sales of 8 popular models. We'll tell you why they're doing it and what every consumer needs to know. The tough sell. Can President Obama's State of the Union address tonight restart his ambitious agenda? We'll hear from both sides of the aisle. A new turn in the Nancy Kerrigan family tragedy. Her brother is sent for a mental evaluation and will not be allowed to attend their father's funeral. We'll talk with one of Nancy's former teammates and friends. And Apple's long-rumored tablet is set to be unveiled today. We'll see if it lives up to the hype. Early this Wednesday morning, January 27th, 2010. Good morning. I'm Harry Smith in Washington, D.C.
And I'm Maggie Rodriguez in New York. Harry, such a crucial speech for the president tonight.
I know. Remember, a year ago, we were sitting right here overlooking the Capitol, anticipating the inauguration and talking about the sort of energy in this city. Well, we wonder if this president has in him the ability to readdress the American people tonight and say, well, we want to start over again. We'll find out about the State of the Union address in just a little bit. Max.
All right, Harry, but we begin this morning here in New York with that bombshell announcement from the world's #1 automaker. Toyota has ordered a temporary stop to 8 of its models. They won't sell them. They won't even produce them due to safety concerns. Early Show consumer correspondent Susan Koppen is in Pittsburgh this morning with all the details. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Maggie. This is a company that is already reeling from 2 major recalls involving millions of vehicles, including the popular Camry.
Toyota, the world's #1 automaker, has been dealing with accelerator problems publicly for months. Its first recall involved floor mats, jamming the gas pedal at full throttle, like in this deadly crash in San Diego.
The accelerator stuck.
I'm sorry?
Our accelerator stuck.
Then the day after Christmas, 4 people were killed near Dallas when a 2008 Avalon sped into a pond. The floor mats were found in the trunk. And then last week, Toyota launched a recall of 2.3 million vehicles, stating the accelerator could get stuck.
And it's shocking because it's a Toyota.
Toyota has linked the faulty accelerator pedal to a U.S. supplier, but doesn't know exactly what's causing it to stick.
That's a serious problem.
Auto industry experts say the sales suspension is extraordinary.
We're really going into unprecedented waters here. This is major. This is something we haven't seen before, and this is big news.
For now, Toyota will stop producing and selling the following models of its RAV4, Corolla, Camry, Matrix, Avalon, Highlander, Tundra, and Sequoia vehicles. A Toyota spokesman says, we're making every effort to address this situation for our customers as quickly as possible. Analysts say they have little time to lose.
We've seen that, companies can come out of this, but, it's gonna take a pounding first, I think. In the short term, at least, their consumer confidence will be very shaky.
And Toyota says it will stop the production of these vehicles at 5 North American plants starting next week. Maggie.
Susan, obviously Toyota wouldn't take such drastic measures if it had a solution to this problem. So what should people who have one of these cars at home, and that's a lot of people, what should they do?
Yeah, Toyota has said it is taking this action until it finalizes a remedy. In the meantime, the company says if you are having a problem with your accelerator, if you notice that it is sticking, you should pull over and call your dealer immediately.
Susan Koppen in Pittsburgh. Thank you, Susan. And we will put a complete list of all of those models on our website, earlyshow.cbsnews.com. Now back to Washington and Harry.
Morning, Erica.
Good morning, Harry. In London this morning, targeting terror. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton among the delegates at an international conference on beating back terrorism and the threat of terrorism in Yemen. Yemen, of course, has become something of a terror hub, and a group based there, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, hatched that Christmas Day bombing plot. Meantime, a new CBS News poll finds 66% of those asked think another terrorist attack on the U.S. is likely within the next few months. Now compare those numbers to just 47% right before that Detroit plot Christmas Day. Another survivor pulled from the rubble in Haiti. A 35-year-old man says he was trapped for 12 days by an aftershock of the devastating quake. He was found covered in dust with a broken leg. He is now being treated for severe dehydration. And some dramatic video coming to us from eastern Belgium this morning. That was a 5-story building collapsing after a powerful explosion. It happened about 2 a.m. local time. At least 20 people were injured, 2 of them critically. Rescue workers are now searching for more survivors. Local officials suspect that a gas leak is actually to blame. Those are the kind of pictures you normally see in a controlled explosion, not something like that, Dave. Whew,
remarkable that they got video of it, actually.
I was thinking the same thing, that they had the video and that was so clear, especially at 2 a.m. local time.
Wonder if it was surveillance. We'll find out. We can always talk about it later on this morning. Maggie, to you.
All right, Dave, thank you. Now to the latest on the Nancy Kerrigan family tragedy. The Olympic ice skater's brother will reportedly undergo psychological evaluation, and he will not be elected. Todd Eldridge, thanks a lot for taking the time. Still to come, you're welcome. Still to come here for us, a Massachusetts teenager commits suicide after. A lot of cheers with our fans bundled up outside on the plaza here in New York City. Welcome back to the Early Show on this Wednesday. I'm Maggie Rodriguez here in New York. Harry is in Washington this morning. Good morning again, Harry.
Morning, Maggie. Coming up, for months, the internet has been buzzing about Apple's tablet computer. We've been saying all morning, Apple has the amazing ability to create products you didn't know you needed and then realize you can't live without. Today's the day it's supposed to be unveiled. So what's it supposed to do and how expensive is it going to be? We're going to try and find that out from our science guy, Daniel Sieber.
Also ahead, we've got an important new medical study to tell you about. It's about something called normal weight obesity, which basically means that you could look thin, but you may actually have dangerously high body fat. Our Dr. Jennifer Ashton will explain. But first, officials in Massachusetts believe there's been another tragic, deadly case of cyberbullying. A 15-year-old girl committed suicide, and it appears that she was being bullied online. CBS News correspondent Whit Johnson is in South Hadley, Massachusetts, with the story. Good morning, Whit.
The Early Show continues now from the General Motors building in New York City.
In this morning's Health Watch, looking thin, but really being obese. New research from the Mayo Institute finds that as many as 30 million Americans who are considered to be normal weight actually have a dangerously high percentage of body fat. Here with details is our own Dr. Jennifer Ashton. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Maggie.
How is this possible that you could be obese but look thin?
Well, we've said it here many times on this program. You cannot confuse being slim with being healthy. And in fact, what this Mayo Clinic study found is that you can have internal fat, we call it visceral fat, that actually surrounds your internal organs, even if externally your body looks slim. So again, this really is important.
But if you look thin, how do you know if inside you have this dangerous fat?
Well, this is where it gets a little tricky. There are many ways to check your body fat percentage, and those ways range from anything from a water test to caliper or skin fold testing to things that are much more expensive, like even DEXA testing. The bottom line is, if you have that testing done and you find that your numbers are above a certain level, it does indicate that even though externally you could look healthy, internally you could have these same exact risks as someone who's in fact obese, believe it or not.
So if you go and get these tests, what percentage of fat is a red flag?
Well, what they found from the Mayo study is that for men, having over 23% of body fat, and for women over 33% of body fat was the critical number. To compare that to, let's say, elite athletes, many elite male athletes have as low as 8% body fat, and female athletes around 14 and 15%. So there's a very wide range here. Those are the upper limits of normal.
What are the health risks of having fat that high?
Well, believe it or not, the same things we see with external obesity, anything from the metabolic syndrome, diabetes, high cholesterol, hypertension, all of which, of course, then lead to heart disease. So again, you need to be healthy on the inside as much as the outside.
Thank you, Jen. We'll be right back. Don't go away. So you should go to your doctor.
CBS Health Watch, sponsored by Advil Cold and Sinus. Ask for it at the pharmacy counter.